Introducing our dual color front fender vertical running light strips for the Can-Am Ryker. This kit will include 2 dual color LED strips, one for each front fender. The strips are dual color and will feature a full-time white running light as well as blinking amber illumination when the turn signals are in use. Each strip is encased in a smoke black tube for a nice sleek look when not in use. Once installed, you'll notice they make quite a visual statement and, more importantly, increase your likeliness of being seen by other motorists while out on the open road. Today we'll be installing these strips on our shop Ryker to walk you through the installation process, so let's get started. Clean the surface area with an alcohol swab and let that dry for a minute. Before taking the primer stick and cracking the center to release the liquid to the tip, and then carefully apply that to the surface area of the fender. Then peel back a small section of the protective backing tape on the LED, line it up with the edge of the fender, and continue doing that in small sections at a time, following the inside edge of the fender. And then run that wire through the inside of the fender alongside the factory harness, making sure to keep it up and out of the way of any and all moving parts. And then repeat that same technique for the other side. Clean the surface area with an alcohol swab and let that dry for a minute before taking the primer stick and cracking the center to release the liquid to the tip, and then carefully apply that to the surface area of the fender. Then peel back a small section of the protective backing tape on the LED, line it up with the edge of the fender, and continue doing that in small sections at a time, following the inside edge of the fender. Now you can plug the blinker modules into the LED strips. And now pop open your hood, open your glove box, and take out these 2 push pins on the left-hand side of the bike. And then open your gas door and take out these other 2 push pins also on the left-hand side of the bike so that you can remove this panel. Now with your wiring harness exposed, locate and unplug this factory accessory wire so that you can attach the splitter harness from the kit and plug it back into the bike. Then attach a 2-in-1 splitter into that harness, followed by the 2 long extensions. Now you'll want to carefully run those 2 long extensions down to the blinker modules, and make sure to zip tie any and all loose wires up and out of the way of any and all moving parts. And then plug those into the blinker modules on each side of the bike. Now to keep that clean installed look, take some electrical tape and wrap up the yellow wire. Then run the wires alongside the factory wiring harness across the A-arm and tuck it into the factory wire holder so that it's up and out of the way. And then repeat that same process for the other side. Now for this next part, I wanted to remove these 2 lower side panels to make it easier on myself to access the wiring harness that we'll be tapping into for the blinkers. Now you don't necessarily have to remove the panels, but it will make things a bit easier. So just pop up and remove these 3 push pins, and then the panel will just pop right off. Now just unclip this harness from the frame so that you can very carefully, without slicing into any wires, peel back this wrapping on the harness to expose the gray wire with yellow stripe. Then add a dab of dielectric grease to a T-tap and clip it onto the wire. Next, take the yellow wire from the blinker module, cut and strip the end, crimp on a spade connector, and plug it into the T-tap. Once that's all good, take some electrical tape and wrap everything so it's nice and tidy. And make sure you zip tie any and all loose wires up and out of the way of any and all moving parts. And if you decided to remove the panel, you can go ahead and put it back on. And then just repeat that same process for the other side. Take off the lower panel if you want to make it a bit easier on yourself. Unclip the harness from the frame. Carefully peel back the wrapping to expose the gray wire with green stripe. Add a dab of dielectric grease to a T-tap and clip it onto the wire. Crimp a spade connector onto the yellow wire. And plug it into the T-tap. And if everything is in good working order, take some electrical tape and wrap everything up so it's nice and tidy. And make sure you zip tie any and all loose wires up and out of the way of any and all moving parts. And if you decided to remove the panel, you can go ahead and put it back on. And that's it, folks. Now, if you plan on adding some of our other dual color LED kits in addition to this one, such as our A-arm lights or our dual air scoop lights, you'll want to pick up one of our 1 to 4 expansion harnesses, which will allow for plug-and-play expansion of all our dual color lighting mods, so that the Ryker will look a little something like this. Now, if these light strips seem like something you want on your Ryker, then head on over to slingmods.com to pick up a set for yourself. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with everything Ryker.